Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tyler Ellison, and I'm joined by my amazing friends, Mario and Lynn. And we're all thrilled because in today's gathering, we're going to be bringing forth the channeled messages from two beings, Eyael of the Shem Ha-Mephirosh, and secondarily, we will be channeling Amdusias of the Goetia. They are described as a yin-yang pair, 72 goetic beings and 72 angelic beings. So in today's channeling, we will bring Eyael through, and then we will bring Amdusias through. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, everyone. And thank you so much for coming and enjoying the content.
Delectare in Domino et David tibi petitiones cordis tui.
All right, I thank you for creating this portal, this opening for me to be able to project my mind, my will, my essence forth into your domain. Keep in mind, beings like myself are not readily called upon because for many people in your modern era, you think of our existence as fictitious because we do not walk the earth in physical bodies as you do. Nevertheless, we have our own domains, our own abodes of light, and these abodes and domains that we occupy and possess. It is from here that we emanate our influence through the various dimensions and densities of creation. Our angelic influence acts as the organizational light code information that organizes how biological systems and ecosystems of a physical and non-physical nature express themselves. In other words, angelic beings represent the intelligences that organize the movement of life force across environments and across species. How this unique life force manifests and unfolds determines many things. It can determine psychological temperament, and it can also determine things like energetic constitution, as well as physical form and what you would call the phenotypic expression of a being. All of these manifestations are the result of how the life force energy is organized, of how that life force energy is flavored. The 72 major angels, of which I am a part, emanate these organizational light code frequencies as songs. These songs are the songs of the angels that your devoted practitioners and prophets and mystics perceive whilst they are in visionary states. These songs, if they are to be heard in their fullness, will cause an individual to have an experience that is somewhat similar to that of bilocation. They will feel that they are transported from the physical reality into the upper echelons of the angelic world. To truly hear our song in its fullness is to become our song. And because our song is an emanation of our mind and our will, to become our song is to also become us. And in that sense, you become an instrument of the celestial mind. Because our song that we sing together in unison as one is the eternal song of creation. All movements, all actions, all manifestations, all phenomenon that you could possibly experience are the result of this song and these major 72 songs, or rather instruments that are being played together. I paint this picture for you at this time so you can relate to beings such as myself in a stronger way, with a greater capacity. So I am not as removed from your understanding as I would perhaps otherwise be, had such details been occluded. So I thank you for receiving my words, my will, my wisdom. I make myself a servant unto you. How may I assist you in your evolutionary ascent?
Thank you very much for this beautiful transmission, a true gift. And we would like to ask you the first question. As you are connected with the wind of change, how we may welcome this wind of change in order to break free from our past limitations and in order to realize and make available to us new aspirations, new doors, new opportunities.
The southeastern direction is the direction of wind. Face this direction. Speak to the wind. Pray to the wind. Telepath to the wind. Address the wind in sacred languages. Address the wind as if it were a conscious entity. Remember that your ancient texts refer to 4 winds. These 4 winds have secret names. These secret names can be discovered and can be divined. These names can be vibrated, can be uttered, can be spoken, sung, whilst facing the southeastern direction. And you can then overlay your vision of change, your desire for change, your preference of how you change onto the intelligence of the wind, thus influencing how the qualities of wind will then manifest in your life, how those agents of change will manifest, and how their processes will unfold.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Beloved friend, we are very grateful for your loving presence.
I am grateful for yours.
And we would like to ask you, in terms of fulfilling our true will, how can we increase our fame and reach a broader audience following our passion and our mission?
What I'm going to suggest may sound a little taboo or strange, but you are adults. You have lunar power, both of you. This is the Kundalini power. You are in a loving, committed relationship with one another, both of you. This is something people all around your planet are seeking. They don't know how to love. They don't know how to express their creativity. They don't know how to express their reproductive energies. And as a result, they get all knotted up. They trip over themselves. They move awkwardly and sometimes destructively through life. The sufferings you feel, they are not all your own. You are sensitive to the sufferings of humanity because you are lunar in nature. And because you are aware of the sufferings of humanity, you are aware of the antidotes. You yourself carry the antidote through your constitution, through your chemistry, through your will. All of this, for both of you, represents to humanity specifically a type of antidote, a type of remedy that will assist them in overcoming the hallucinatory condition that so many find themselves to be in. If you speak in such a way that stimulates these suppressed and sometimes taboo dimensions of people's minds, well, they will respond with a stronger capacity and a stronger amount of energy. But if you work to only stay within the confines of what is acceptable by your society, you won't stand out and your fame will not grow. So focus on helping people in that capacity with the romance, with the sexual energy, with the utilization of sexual power for the fulfillment of true will. This will be very important for both of you. You have a lot to offer here.
Thank you very much.
You are incredibly welcome.
And we thank you very much. This was very, very beautiful answer. And we would like to ask you, when we realize that when we look inward and we see all the things that need to be sacrificed in order to make space for new beginnings, how we may allow for this process to be more smooth so that we do not experience suffering, resistance, so on and so forth.
By attempting to avoid those things, you are walking into them. So suffering is not something that comes and gets you from the outside. It's not how suffering works. So there's nothing to avoid. It's not like someone's shooting a gun of suffering at you and you have to dodge the bullet. So no avoiding suffering. Suffering is different than discomfort. It's different than pain. You can experience pain and not suffer. You can experience discomfort and not suffer. Suffering is a state of mind. It is a type of selected reaction to discomfort, to pain. Suffering will usually have a victim narrative behind it. Oh, woe is me. Look at how hard I have it. Look at how bad everything is. It will usually have some kind of story. Now, that story might be buried behind loads of symbolism and fabrics of camouflage, so the conscious mind never notices, thus allowing for that story to continue. And it becomes a cycle, becomes a pattern. So, with your suffering, seek to master how you respond to both internal and external challenge. The key is to take things step by step by step. With every step you take, can you utter the phrase, I love you? With every breath you take, can you utter the phrase, I accept you? With every person you look at, can you buy into the recognition that you are them and they are you? To vigilantly train yourself in such a way is to sacrifice the very ego structure that many feel is invincible and cannot be shed. The ego is shed through service to others and through taking that intense focus that many people direct internally and reversing it so that focus is projected out onto the world, thus bringing you into a state of consciousness where you are very curious, you're interested in what's happening around you, and things have once more become exciting. See? When all of that energy is directed internally, you end up cultivating your microcosm. But if that microcosm is not allowed fresh energy from the macrocosm, stagnation and rot will ensue. So you must create a dynamic relationship between the inner and the outer reality. And you do that through conscious response. Conscious response will dissolve the ego structure that creates the narratives of suffering.
Thank you so much. Very, very useful information.
You're very welcome.
And could you tell us how we can develop a deeper appreciation for the present moment and our time alone?
Remember that I am an angel that instigates endings, changes, and transitions. So I won't sugarcoat this. You only have so much time. You don't have infinite time on this planet. You don't have infinite time with this body. You don't have infinite time with the people you're surrounded by. You don't have infinite time in the location you find yourself in. You don't have infinite time with the belief system structures you're working with. All of it will change. When you realize you're holding sand and it's slipping through your fingers, things become both trivial and precious all at the same time. And in that state of preciousness and triviality, the true significance is seen, that all things are God's play. And that is where blissfulness and appreciation of the present moment becomes commonplace, becomes established. You're not necessarily creating bliss. You're tuning into a bliss that is already there. Nevertheless, bliss has ingredients. Therefore, you can create bliss within you. Chemically, you can make it inside. But that chemical that you associate with bliss, anandamai, it acts as a frequency attractor for the state of consciousness that you call blissfulness. So blissfulness already exists as a birthright, state of consciousness you're already dialed into. Yet it is obfuscated by the narratives of the mind. Remember, even positive, loving narratives can distract you from direct, loving engagement with the present moment. If you're too busy listening to a good story, you may miss the greater story that unfolds before you. So, with all narrative, be willing to sacrifice, be willing to put down the stories so you can see clearly once more. When you can see there's no difference between your consciousness and the reality you perceive yourself to be in, it is here where many of the conflicts with the present moment dissolve, because you realize you are the present moment, and many of the conflicting energies are simply a matter of misunderstanding your true identity and role. When you pretend to be something you are not, when you do things designed for others but not for you, when you buy into a story authored by another that is different from the story of your soul, you will feel some type of tension within you. That tension might seem like a curse, but it's meant to motivate you to create an indestructible relationship with the God-given authenticity that exists as an infinite creative reservoir within your being.
Thank you very much.
And I thank you. At this time, I shall release the channel so he may return to his here and now vantage point of physical consciousness. The unconditional love of the Shem HaMefarash and of my beings and kind to you always. Okay. Nice. Very good.
It was beautiful.
Very, very amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I really liked it. I got to study. I have to study so much more. But anyway, I don't want to talk about personal thoughts. When I channel, I'm pretty tranced out, but I can notice just with as any other skill, strengths and weak spots. So I have certain things I have to review in Hebrew to help me go further with some of these angels. But I agree, man. It was really beautiful. I felt like his magical advice was particularly impressive. I have to say he really opened up a lot of doors that I think are quite creative. So I'm very, very grateful about that. And of course, Amdusias, will be quite interesting to work with. I am very excited to see what type of information will be manifested through him. Amdusias, to make sure I'm saying this right.
Eyael, 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 Oi, Oi, Oi. Denien valokur avage secore amdusias.
It is in the darkness that you resist, that your journey into the delights of the higher unknown await. Charge forth boldly into the night, letting your inner sight reveal the occult light in all that you perceive. Remember that when you subject yourself to darkness, eventually your original vision turns on. Your mind's eye and physical eyes overlap, allowing for you to see reality as it actually is, which is why many of your ancient masters dwell in the caves and caverns. They gain true sight. And that is what I urge all of you to develop. Fear not your darkness. Leap into it like a lagoon illuminated by Luna in all of her silver glory. Drink from the black waters and let the revelations of Bina overtake you and empower you, so that your horn may grow long and mighty, broadcasting your will, projecting it and impressing it upon all that you come into contact with. This is why I exist. For this process that I describe here is a process all beings of duality will go through. And in their mastery of that process, my power is called upon. You see, in order to run through the forest at night, one must have the ability to cause the trees to move out of the way. In order to charge blindly, boldly into darkness, one must have supreme faith, not only in their ability, but in their ability's ability to co-create with the outer reality. But I remind you, it is in darkness that things change. In the light, things look the same until all of those little changes built up in the darkness yield a grand manifestation. Thank you for your attention. And now, how may I delight you in this communion of creation?
Thank you very much for this transmission. A true pleasure to be here.
Indeed.
I would like to ask you if you can elaborate on the magical abilities of the unicorn and how we may embody these abilities.
So, think of the words I have spoken just a moment ago. Charge forward boldly with faith, having cultivated your ability to create harmoniously with life, so obstacles naturally move out of your way, out of respect for your devotion to your higher purpose, which is like a star in the sky that your unicorn horn points towards. You see, you all have an energetic unicorn horn, and it can be stretched, it can be retracted. You can create all types of visual effects to help you relate to this horn in all types of ways. This horn allows for you, like a type of terrestrial mosquito, to be able to extend your horn up into the universe, drawing energy from whatever celestial source is needed. But it is that unicorn horn that aligns you with your personal star. If the unicorn horn is underdeveloped, you will feel like you are deficient in a motivating reason to move forward because the star is ahead of you. The unicorn horn is aiming forward, and it's like it pulls you, you see? You don't have to rely so much on your own momentum when the destiny emanated as a light code from that celestial being is pulling you forward, you see? Saves you a lot of time, energy, and strength, working more effectively.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I greet you, beloved soul.
And I greet you. May I assist in any way or capacity?
We are very passionate and excited about working with the stars connected to the lunar mansions. Could you talk about this?
In terms of connecting with stars, what I advise is the following. Subject yourself to the moon's radiance. During the activity and window of the mansion that is aligned with the star of your preference, expose your body to the moon. Take its light in, bring it into your eyes, bring it into the back of the skull, bring it into the yesodic center, the sacrum. Let yourself pull in that lunar light, charging your aura in silver, charging the spine, the sacrum in silver. You can even work with the kidneys and their lunar associations, charging them in silver. All of this is fine. And from here, once you have charged yourself with the moon's essence and energy, turn your body to face the star that you desire to work with. And from here, see all of that lunar energy you have absorbed now transform into the color that resonates with that star. And now begin, whilst facing the star, to sing songs of praise to the star, vibrating its name in the most ancient languages and tongues you can discover or recreate for yourselves. But let yourself become one with the star. As your physical body stands and sings the song, let your astral body travel up using the unicorn horn as a tunnel projector and project yourself up and through into the star as the physical body remains and sings. Recall Eyael's message about bilocation when you hear the true song of the angels. Remember, to your ancient people, planets, stars, and angels overlap. Keep this in mind. The celestials are the angels. Or rather, they are the physical manifestation of them. They're anchors into the material universe.
Thank you from my heart.
You're welcome.
And I would like to ask you, you mentioned in the beginning about the will, the power of your will, how we may embody this powerful will that is in alignment with our divine purpose in order to make these trees to move out of our way in a way that is complete, correct, and auspicious for all. I mean, not in a malefic way.
Your will is not necessarily something you are inventing. It's something you're discovering. You look inside yourself and you see who you are, you see what you are, and from that knowledge, you see, you glean, you intuit what you are to do. Now, what you are to do will usually translate as some type of path in your life that will have skill sets that accompany such a path. You might not see how these skills may add up. You may not see what they will lead to. You may not see how different skills will overlap, but nevertheless, when you see these things within you, you will see what you are to do. That doing will require learning and proficiency. This is where you are to work. This is where you are to labor. This is where you are to grow, because that is the path of mastery. And as you come to know yourself as a celestial servant, the quality of your will expand. It may start out in a way that is perhaps somewhat limited in understanding, but as you come to know yourself as a servant of the divine mind, you will see the capacity of your will, the scope of your will expand as well. And your highest self, what you call God, its will and your own will be identical from your vantage point.
Thank you for this beautiful answer.
You're welcome. Look to your childhood. Look to what excited you when you were young. The things you love to do, the ideas you like to contemplate, the places you like to go, the characters you'd like to emulate. Reconnect with this. Bring it forward. Your will is entangled with all of that information. You show your own path to yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And a question about creating music. I would like to create music that assists people in being their true self, in discovering and fulfilling their true will. So any recommendations and advices would be greatly appreciated.
My suggestion is layer your voice. Have 2 layers, minimum. 1 layer is much louder. This is what the ears are meant to hear. This is what creates a type of auditory beauty. 2nd layer might be more occult, harder for the listener to pick up on. But nevertheless, still a part of the song, completely audible or only slightly audible, your choice. But let this 2nd layer be a repetition of sacred mantras and prayers that represent the types of effects you would like to create in the listener. Those mantras may be heard in the background, and maybe that adds a beautiful or mystical effect to the sound, but you can make those mantras completely subliminal. It's your choice how you choose to use those technologies, but that's available to you. I remind you, you've developed many bodies, yes?
Yes.
Have one of them sing, energetically speaking, some of these mantras of empowerment, while the physical you sings the song. You see? Train singing astrally. Use your energy body. See what that's like. It will carry over physically. Your physical voice will then touch the astral of your audience.
We are very grateful for this beautiful interaction.
Thank
I'm
you.
grateful for you. Thank you both for this delightful exchange. My gratitude and appreciation to you and to all whom dwell in the middle world.